Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
I'm great. What about you?
Bradley, I'm in Mobile, Alabama today, home of the free, land of the brave. This is our third podcast of the day, and I don't know that there's one I'm going to be more excited about because about 5 minutes before we came on this podcast, I figured out that this is a technology that Scott and his agency started using exactly 1 week ago, and my agents have been blown away by. So I'm excited to be here.
And you had no idea we were doing this?
None. So. Zero. You handed me the piece of paper. I'm looking at the piece of paper, and I went, oh, my gosh, we started using this last week. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about having Rand here with me today. You know why, Bradley? Has there ever been somebody that looks better than Rand does?
He's a handsome guy.
I'm telling you
we
what.
need Rand a mic just so he can chime in every now and then.
100%, man. Just like all these other comedy podcasts where they let their producer chime in. Two Bears, One Cave, all these other comedian podcasts always have like their producers will chime in every now and then, and they'll ask them a question. So right now, if I could, I would ask Rand, what have you done to lose all this weight? Because he's now Skinny Rand. And I like Skinny Rand. Skinny Rand seems to be a little bit more serious. But I like Skinny Rand.
He's glowing.
He is glowing. He's got a glow about him. How you been doing?
I'm good.
Been a while since we saw each other. Been a while. The last time we were this close to each other, Bradley was at the hospital, leaned up on the windowsill, watching me in a hospital bed.
No, we were at Progressive. That was the last
Oh, that's
time
right. We went to Progressive since then.
Yeah.
I forgot about Progressive.
Last time I saw you, we were at Shake Shack.
Another reason Rand needs a microphone. He could tell his side of the story of y'all hanging out the back end of an Uber.
We've got to tell that story. We haven't told that story, have we?
I don't know. I don't know if you've told it on the podcast.
So we go to Progressive HQ to do this podcast, and Rand and I took an Uber back. We left Scott, and we're driving down the road, and our Uber driver was elderly, so he didn't get out to help us get our bags in. And it was really cold, if you remember, Rand. And we're driving down the freeway, and we put all our gear in the back, all his camera gear, probably $20,000 worth of camera gear, 25. And I look at Rand and I go, why do I hear wind? And we turn around and the back hatch of the van was not closed all the way. Oh. And Rand's bag is dangling on the bumper with $25,000 worth of, and all the files that we just recorded.
That's right.
And so he Mission Impossible climbs, thank God he's in good shape, climbs in the back and just grabs onto this bag so that until the Uber driver can pull over. I mean, it was dramatic. And we finally get everything good. And I said, could you imagine if I had to call Scott right now and say, hey, we have to turn around. We have to go back to Progressive and record this again.
How close did it come to that happening, Rand?
It was on the bumper. I mean, it was on the bumper.
Going 60 miles an hour.
At least. Yeah. And what's crazy is we tell him, hey, stop. He's like, I can't pull over. I'm on the interstate. And so it's we had to just sit there and hold it until, it was gnarly. It was gnarly.
Guys, we've got a very special guest on the podcast today, actually 2 guests. And I want to give them the introduction that they've always deserved. But I've got this is a very unusual situation. I did not know that we were doing this podcast. I went to a very exclusive insurance mastermind about 2 weeks ago. out in Phoenix, Arizona. In that mastermind, we start talking about technologies that everybody's using. And there was one technology that multiple people kept talking about. And the technology was called Outmarket AI. And so I went on my phone and I just typed in Outmarket AI, started looking at it. And when I got back to my office, while I was there, I set up a demo with Outmarket. I get back to my office, I have my commercial people on this demo with Outmarket AI. And Bradley, we are blown away, literally blown away by what this can do in terms of not just like commercial insurance proposal, not just being able to take 3 or 4 different quotes, put them into Outmarket, and it basically summarizes which policies, which quote is what and what this one's missing, why this one's better. You can actually take a claim denial letter, put it into Outmarket, then put the policy that claim was denied from into Outmarket, and it will start spitting out ways you can get that claim covered if it's possible, right?
Well, what I'll tell you guys, and I don't
Do you
wanna,
use Outmarket?
Oh yeah, I don't want to pump up your egos too much. Okay.
Yeah, let's not do that.
You know, we see a lot of technology. I mean, I get any new insure tech, I get the email wanting to do the demo or the pitch.
And by the way, you and I have not ever had this conversation.
We haven't
not
had
ever.
The conversation.
Didn't know you even knew what Outmarket was till just now.
And we usually most technologies, there's the jockey and then there's the horse. There's a really good jockey, but the horse isn't great. Or there's a really good horse, but the jockey isn't great. Outmarket was the first piece of technology, one of the very few in insurance in the last few years that I'm like, damn, the jockey and the horse are both good. And it's been one of the very few that I come away blown away and okay, we have to use this right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there, and you also get the vibe from some tech, there's some technology that it's like, okay, I can tell these guys are going to get a quick exit and then we're never going to see them again. And then there's some technology that's, hey, this is going to be a player for a long time. And Outmarket, I think definitely falls in that category. And this isn't a podcast to just talk about Outmarket. I want to get into their backgrounds and things like that. So,
guys, listen to this, okay? Originally from India, they both now, I believe, live in California. They're finally able to pursue their lifelong dream of building a product and selling it, which builds on their years of building foundations in NLP, machine learning, data, and analytics. Before jumping into building their own company, they have worked for companies like Ethos Life. They ran the solutions engineering team for entertainment, tech, and telco at Meta, which we got to talk about their Meta days, right? But I want to introduce both of them
also
right now.
Uber.
And also Uber, that's
and IBM.
correct. And IBM, correct. But I want to introduce them together because I feel like they're kind of like, I don't know if Batman and Robin is the right term, but I feel like they're kind of joined at the hip here. So I want to first time guest on the IGP, Mr. Anshu Jain, and founder and CEO of Outmarket AI, which Bradley and I both use and love, Mr. Vishal Sankhla. How are you guys? How are you doing today?
We are great, and thank you so much, Scott and Bradley. Long-time listener, first time on the podcast here. Super excited to be here, basically. So yeah, thank you so much.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
That's right. So Anshu, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going. Both of your bios are amazing. It's hard for me to know, like, I could sit here and talk about you guys for 10 minutes, but I'd rather hear it from you. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, both of you. If I have to introduce myself, I say, hey, in my heart, I'm right now a programmer and a dad, right? Those are the two things that consume me. Uh, I was born to program, is what I feel. I got into programming right after high school. I mean, I did programming before high school, but really got into it after high school. And I was from my very first job just doing coding, hacking, hackathons, if not participating in them, organizing them, and that's my passion, right? Even when I was at IBM Research, my job was to be surrounded by people who are all smarter than me, and then take their smart research and make it accessible to people. That's what I keep doing. Like, hey, how do we take good technology and make it consumable by end users, right? That's what is my real sort of passion. And so I've been doing that for life, I feel like. And I've always done that under guardrails of so many large institutions. My first company, actually not my first company, but my second company, which was my 13-year stint, was IBM, a 300,000 people company. After which at Meta, I was at a 30,000 people company. And then in Ethos, it was a 300 people company. But I was always under those guardrails. My final goal was to do something on my own without those guardrails, where what I build, I can actually take out to the end consumer. And that I finally get to do with Outmarket. And it has been a journey of a lifetime, especially to do it with Vishal, who's like a brother to me. And yeah, that's my introduction. And then on the other side, I'm a dad. I spend most of my time outside of work with my wife and my two kids, two boys. One does baseball, one does tennis. So that's where I'm running to every day of my life after finishing the outmarket calls, or while I'm doing the outmarket calls.
So like me, you're busier from 5 to 9 p.m. than you are from 8 to 5 p.m.
Yes, coming on this desk is my relaxing time.
Yeah.
Hey, Anshu, I said this in the last podcast we did last week. As a father who now has a kid that's playing college baseball at a high level, here's all you need to say after the game. I love you. I'm proud of you. Where do you want to go eat? That's all you got to say.
You got it. You got it.
He knows every time he struck out. He knows every error he made. He knows when he knows all that. But you know what'll kind of make it all better is, hey, where you want to go eat at?
I'll never forget that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So let's hear more. I want to hear more. Vishal, tell us a little bit more about you. Let me also, I know you guys. I've got so many questions about Meta and Uber and your time there, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, team. So thank you for the opportunity. So I'm Vishal, and my background, also like Anshu, like I have a tech background. I came to the US in 2001. So I've been in the US over 25 years now. And I came to the US 2 weeks before sort of like 9/11. So I have a very surreal kind of experience coming into the US and got a lot of experience from that. I finished my master's and then I joined a tech company very early on, and I did a startup very early on. I wasn't the founder of the startup, but I was very early, and that essentially gave me a great experience into everything, not just building products, but also understanding how do you essentially kind of sell products? Like what do customers look for? How do you deliver value in your products? And that gave me a great experience into very early stage startups where I can actually build something, but also understand like how consumers use it. How do they see value in it? We not only built products, we actually did sales, we did marketing, we did support, and we got to do the entire life cycle, and that was a lot of fun. After that company got acquired, I decided to kind of go work for a bigger company. I was like, I worked for a very small company. I want to see what working for big companies look like. So I went to Cisco. I was at Cisco for a while, and I come from a network and security background. So going to Cisco was like going to the mothership, right? You have to go to the mothership and pay your dues there. And I joined Cisco for a while, and kind of like Anshu mentioned, like, it was a big company, a lot of guardrails. I mean, Cisco is still around, it's still very relevant, but just didn't have the sort of fun I was looking for in my career. So decided to do a startup actually. Just coming from a startup where I was not a founder of, I decided to do a startup. And this was back in the day when social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Instagram, like all these platforms were like, just blowing up. And if you're a company, if you're a brand, like how do you manage all these different profiles? You have people talking about you on Twitter, you have people talking about you on Facebook, on Instagram, on all these places, and you have no way to sort of like what are people saying about me? Like who is talking about me where? So we decided to build an entire sort of social media management platform that allows companies to just organize all this information and have one sort of command center to look at everything in one place. And got to build that company. We raised venture capital. We got to about 20-25 people in the company. But at that time, like the big lesson for me was like we built an amazing product, but everything depended on like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and their data. The data didn't belong to us. So we built the oil pipelines, but the oil flowing through the pipes didn't belong to us. It belonged to somebody else. And we saw a lot was changing, right? Twitter was monetizing their data, like Facebook shut down their APIs. LinkedIn got very protective of the data as well, and rightly so. And that's when we felt like, look, this is going to be hard for us to scale, given we don't control the data that's coming through us. We got a good offer to kind of join forces with a larger company at the time. It's a PR company called Cision. It's a PR tech company, sorry, called Cision, based out of Chicago. And we decided to sell the company to Cision at the time because being part of a larger entity, we felt like this will be the technology will be around. It'll get to see the light of the day, and we'll scale the company to many more customers. So I stayed there for a while, and after that, like just took a break. I mean, doing a startup was a very heavy experience. I had my first child during the time as well, and after my after the startup got acquired, we had like my second child, and I have two girls by the way, so I'm a girl dad, and I decided to take a break and travel the world. And everywhere I went, I was just like using Uber to travel. It made it so much convenient. This was back in like 2015, 2016. And I felt this is amazing. Like this technology where I can't understand the language. I don't know, I don't have like the local currency. I can just go anywhere and I can travel very freely. So when I came back, I had a like email sitting in my inbox from a recruiter like, hey, we are at Uber, we're hiring. We're very big on hiring ex-founders who have actually done companies before, who are looking for their new opportunities. And I decided to take the call. I was like, let me see like what this is about. And just reflecting back on that experience, I felt like my startup didn't get to a place where we were scaling and hiring like hundreds of people. So Uber will give me a great opportunity to experience that rapid growth. So I decided to kind of join Uber and join kind of coming from a technical background, join their platform teams to understand like how do we scale this company that's now going all over the world, like in all these different countries and cities. How do we build a proper platform? So I joined Uber to kind of join the platform team. There was again early stage startups. There was no platform. Things were like people were doing their own things. The company was scaling really fast in different countries like India, China, Middle East, Europe. And even in the US, we have so many different regulations for different cities. Like what happens in New York is very different from what happens in the Bay Area to Texas. So we had to centralize everything. We had to bring everything together and got to kind of experience and build that at Uber. And then I got an opportunity to go at Meta after a while. And at Uber, we can talk about this. Like I saw the whole the cycle where like Travis was pushed out of the company and we had new leadership come in. And I was there inside, kind of got a first-hand view into that whole saga at Uber. Luckily, Uber is a stronger company after that now. Many companies don't even survive that sort of thing. But yeah, we got an opportunity to get Meta. At the time, like every startup you would speak to, every brand you would talk to. I mean, if you remember, direct to consumer was a big thing during that time. People were spending like money on Facebook and growing like crazy, right? I mean, it became like a thing where this is an amazing platform for growth more than anything. You spend money, you find the right users, and you scale. And this was an opportunity right here for us to go into sort of and work for that team where how does this engine really work? You have billions of people on the platform. They're doing all these amazing things. Like, how does this engine really work? And that's kind of what got us curious to like go and do that. So I joined Meta as a director to sort of manage that team. And I got Anshu on my team there. So Anshu and I had go long back. We've known each other for over 15 years now, and we've been friends. We've been talking to each other. But this was a great opportunity for us to finally work together. And I was fortunate enough to pull him in, and he came in to manage a few verticals for me, like real estate, and one of them was insurance. We'll talk about it, and entertainment, and so on. So we got to do that at Meta. And then both of us got an opportunity to sort of go at Ethos. So Ethos was building a direct-to-consumer brand. How do we make it easy to protect families? And both Anshu and I have unfortunately lost our dads, so we understand the importance of life insurance. So we were like very drawn to the mission of the company that, hey, this is a company, this kind of protection is needed by families because if something unfortunate were to happen, you need protection from a financial perspective. So we joined Ethos and got our bachelor's, master's, and PhD in insurance. We're both very customer centric people. So we went super deep into understanding how does this work, who are the players, how does the entire ecosystem work, and that gave us a deep, deep understanding of the industry and led us to then start Outmarket basically. So that's our background. We come from a deep tech and product background and insurance background that we bring to Outmarket.
So I have a couple things on that.
Yeah.
So when I was at Alpha Insurance in 2013, my manager at the time, this was very old school insurance. You come into the office, sit down, and buy the insurance, right? And he one day he's like, "I want you to come with me." And we walked out to the parking lot, and we walked in through the front door. We walked in. He said, "Sit down." We sat at the receptionist desks, and then we got up, go to my office, sit in the customer's desk. He's like, "You need to, you're going in through the back door," which is a metaphor for like you have to sit in your customer's chair and see what their perception is of you and your product, and to kind of take that into a 21st century. You guys maybe know this, but there was a lady. There's a lady I follow on TikTok. I think she's the head of HR or something like that at DoorDash. And every DoorDash employee, like corporate employee, once a year, or excuse me, not once a year, every year they have to actually deliver food as if they're a driver so many hours per year. And I was like, that's fascinating just from getting because really DoorDash, their customer are the drivers, not the people ordering the food. The people ordering the food are the customer of the restaurant. And it's fascinating to me, like, especially from you guys coming from the tech side to learn like, okay, the customer's perspective, how are they going to use this? So how did you apply that to insurance, either at Ethos or now?
Yeah. No, that's a great example, Bradley. I just share a story as well. Like when I actually joined Uber, at the time, like I actually bought a secondhand Prius and became an Uber driver myself. I was
Fantastic.
like, I can't build products for someone when I don't understand like what they
Yeah.
do for day to day. And trust me, it was mind blowing to kind of like go through that experience, like buying a car, getting through certification, and how many challenges drivers run into, right? So my big belief was like, something like Uber like exists because today, if you look at somebody loses a job, right? Let's say they do everything right, like in terms of applying for new jobs, interviewing, it will take them like the fastest it would take them is like 4 to 6 weeks before they can get a first paycheck, right? I mean, just the nature of how things are. Like even if you get a job in 4 weeks, your next paycheck will come 2 weeks later, right?
Right.
Here comes Uber, where like you can literally just have a car, start driving, and start making money on the same day or the next day, right? So it's revolutionary for a lot of people who are in that sort of situation, and it was incredibly difficult when I did it myself, and those learnings in terms of how do we make it easy, how do we remove friction from the process, how do we get these people up and running fast, and then when you're driving, right? I mean, there's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
When you shared your Mission Impossible 9 story with your
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
gear, right? I mean, drivers run into all sorts of issues, like they can't park somewhere, like and so many things. So fundamentally, like kind of putting yourself, to your point, putting yourself in the shoes of the customer and like what do they go through, and understanding that, I mean, it requires like you to have that mindset, right? So at Ethos, just for background, like it started during the time when like we had Lemonade and Root and Hippo and a lot of these companies that were going direct to consumer for like some insurances, and Ethos was like, we'll do this for term life insurance, a very kind of basic no frills term life insurance. And we'll build this amazing experience. You go to the website, you apply, within 5 minutes you have life insurance and you have your family covered. Now, one of the things, like, when I joined there as head of product, we started like, and Meta has a huge experimentation culture. So one of the things that was inbuilt into both Anshu and I was we need to experiment. We need to kind of see like what else works. And one of the experiments we ran was like, let's put a agent's phone number in the funnel, right? Let's see what happens, because seemingly a lot of people just drop off. We don't really know why they drop off. Did they not understand a question? And the phone started ringing and people are asking basic questions. They're like, hey, does this have return on premium? Does it have living benefits? Like, is this a whole life policy? Even though we are clearly saying that. So all these questions people had, they were just dropping off and they were not sure why, like, so when they called the phones, we started seeing the conversion increase a lot. And that just made us realize, and those were the early signs that, look, I mean, people want to talk to a trusted advisor. After real estate, if you think about, like, insurance is probably the biggest financial decision you're going to make in your life, right? If you look at our mortgage bills, the second highest bills all of us are collectively paying is our insurance bills. And we want to understand, like, hey, what are we buying? What is covered? What is not covered? And that is like very hard today. And then you need a trusted advisor like you both, honestly, to come in and tell, like, hey, this is why you need this. We have experience doing this. This is the coverage you require. And that led us to sort of really invest in building out ethos for agents, right? So even though it started for direct to consumer, we built a channel that now agents can have the same experience. And coming from an Uber background, like the pitch for us was very simple. I was like, look, Uber, you finish your ride, you make your money. We want to make it so that, like, you give a URL to your client, they finish the entire application, they get life insurance on the same day, and you get your commission like the next day, right?
Get
And
the
if you look
best of
at that
both worlds.
experience, yeah, if you look at that experience, that doesn't exist in the industry. When you shrink the entire submission time into like 2 to 3 days, that just grows your business so significantly, right? So we started doing that, but when early on we didn't see agents were picking onto it, right? And we wanted to understand why. So that's when we went super deep and started like meeting these agents where they were. We're like, hey, we're not here to sell you ethos. We just want to understand what you do day to day. What does your process look like? So very much like the Uber driver experience, right? We didn't interview drivers to understand what their experience looks like. We're like, let's at least, like, do this for a day to understand what that looks like. And that's when we saw the problem. That's when we saw, like, I mean, there's just so much effort that goes into like all the back office work that people have to do. Like there's that this world could be better, basically, right? So that's what inspired us to and seeded the ideas to start Outmarket, actually. Yeah.
And I'll add to that. I've done data analytics all my life. I've built technology, algorithms, tools. At Ethos, I was the customer I was trying to sell to all my life. And I realized that the problem was much deeper than algorithms and technology. I was leading the analytics for the entire company. And in my early days, taking over that team, I said to my top analysts in that team, all the leads, say, hey, what was the premium we wrote last month? Simple question, right? All three analysts gave me a different number. A tech forward company, when it comes to data, there are so many different layers to measuring something as complicated as premium
Yes.
or as simple sounding as premium. And I started to see what was the problem. It was not just about technology, it was about humans, it was about metrics, it was about definitions. And that really inspired me to say, hey, we're going to solve this problem here, right? And
Yeah.
so we took, which allowed us to take that really platform-oriented approach where we started with data and then went into workflows with Outmarket. So it was really great learning and training for me at that point.
So you mentioned something earlier, Vishal, about the first startup. You guys didn't control the data that was coming in. And I was like, man, that sounds like so much like insurance because I don't control the rates that I get. I don't control the way I get the, like, you know what I mean? What similarities, because the thing is, it's like when you've been around the block a little bit, right? I've been in insurance since 2011, which isn't that long, but longer than some. You start to spot trends, right? And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, there's gonna, one of the big players, right? Like, Applied, Vertifor, they're probably feeling a little bit vulnerable right now because some of the smaller players are able to move faster as it relates to AI. So what they're going to do is there's going to be a massive exit where one of these companies buys an AI company at a huge amount, and because I've seen it before, right? Like American Family bought Bold Penguin for a massive number, and then Tarmica sold to Applied for a little bit less. Tarmica is a way better product than Bold Penguin was. So you see these trends, right? You can spot things. What similarities are you guys seeing in insurance that you saw at Meta or you saw at Uber, or you saw at IBM, and you're like, this is the, where is that happening?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I can take a first stab at it, Anshu, and feel free to jump in. I think if you look at the overall stack here, Bradley, right? I think fundamentally, I believe like insurance is the big daddy of big data, right? The amount of data we are sitting on insurance is
It's
incredible. Like
massive.
amount of information you collect from all the insured, all the people that comes to you, that eventually makes into an AMS, like goes to the wholesaler, goes to the carriers, like all this data is insane. So fundamentally, it is a data problem, right? The technology wasn't there for us for the last like 15, 20 years where we could really like do something meaningful with this data, and the technology is here now. So that is the one piece that unlocks this bigger equation in terms of like what can we do this with this data, and like what does it care about for business owners or agency owners like you is like how can I use this to grow my revenue faster? Like every kind of industry is accelerating because of AI. Like how can I have that unique advantage because I have an expertise, because I have this data, because I have these customers to accelerate my business. So there is that one part of it. I think the second question that you asked about like kind of where the industry is going broadly speaking, right? I mean, applied Vodafone, they're part of the ecosystem. If you look at any industry like a CRM or like an applicant tracking system or an HR system, like the past 15, 20 years, we built software because we are getting all this data. How do we capture it? We need to have a structured way of capturing this data. So you go put it in your CRM, in your HubSpot, in your Salesforce, in your agency management system. And that's what kind of job was. Is like take this data and spend the time, energy, and effort to put it in those systems so you can make sense of it. Now, we all know, like we've all struggled with updating our CRMs and struggled with updating all the systems. Like how many times I've taken interviews and never even gone into update the applicant tracking system, basically, right? So it's so, but that was required to structure this data and capture this data. I think the way the world is evolving now is like, we will have the data, it will be structured. Now, if you have the system, we can push it back to the system and start to make sense of it, but we can start to unlock a lot of it. And how do we do that? Is by capturing the work people are doing, right? I mean, the work still happened outside of these systems, right? So that's kind of the approach we took is like, you are going to have these systems, you are going to have this data, but how do we start capturing the work people are doing and going deeper and starting to help people do that work is where we're evolving, right? So that's where we see the AI is going now is like helping people really focus on that. And what we bring from Uber and Meta and IBM is that entire full stack, right? I mean, if you zoom out, like the best products that we use have a couple of common traits. Number one, like you open your phone or like any product, you have an amazing experience, you're gonna go tell your 10 friends. Like I bought this amazing thing, it's the next best thing ever. I would highly, highly recommend you buy it, right? Why do we use Uber? Like I traveled recently, I went to Vegas and like the line for cabs was empty and there's a huge queue for people waiting for Uber. I just got in
Yeah.
the cab and left, but like people, fundamentally the
It's kind
behaviors
of
have
like
changed.
TSA pre-check now.
Exactly. TSA pre-checks are like huge long lines and the other lines are empty, but you're right. The fundamental experience has changed now. People want that easy friction, easy experience, right? So how do you bring that into an industry like insurance, which is very critical, which has a lot of data? So that's kind of what we bring. And that mindset we bring is like we have to understand this data, we have to capture it, but we have to more importantly focus on the work people are doing and how do we make that better, right? So our learnings are simple, like don't make the end user think, make it super simple, right? AI, our expectations are very different now. We don't have that, hey, here's the software, you have to use it the way it is. These are the 5 features and these are the 5 fields and do that. Right? No, like this is how I like to work. Like Scott likes to work this way, Bradley likes to work that way. The software needs to adapt to that, right? So I think that becomes a key kind of foundation of how we think about building products. So that's what we bring from like, being at these massive companies that have built users for billions of products for billions of users now, and that experience of building products here at Outmarket now, yeah.
Anshu, can you explain to our listening audience? I tried to do a little bit of this when we started. The reasons why I was bullish on Outmarket and what you guys are doing. Can you explain to the 50,000 agents listening to this right now why they should book a demo with Outmarket?
Absolutely. I think the number one reason is embedded in what Vishal was saying, which is we build this software by first understanding what you all do, right? Even after we launch the company with the mindset that, hey, we're going to build a company which will serve the agents in that big unmet need, we waited for about, I don't know, 16 to 18 months to launch the product. And in those 16 to 18 months, we were just working on two major problems. One is, what is the product which meets them where they need it, right? So there's a lot of workflows which will say, hey, here's the software. Now go change your processes to work for the software.
Right.
And you know the big software companies which do that, right? In our case, we said, hey, we're trying to build a software which will go just adapt to what you're working at. And so customization and flexibility was an important aspect of doing that. So we built that grounds up into the system. The second thing which we worked on for 17, 18 months was accuracy, right? I've spent my entire career at IBM Research working on natural language. I've held patents on trying to talk to data and get answers for about 20 years now. This is my life's blood work. So I know what it is to get inaccurate responses, what it is to measure accuracy. We were spending that time trying to make sure that whatever we do is accurate because we know the weight of these decisions, because the industry is measured on errors and omissions, right? So we wanted to come to a point where our errors are much lower than human errors, right? And so we spent that time baked into it, the customer's flexibility. So we built a platform rather than point solutions that, hey, if we can't give you what you need today, you'll be able to customize it to get what you need. And that is one of the key features at Outmarket, right? From the
You
word
build
go.
your own workflows. Yeah.
Exactly. The customizable workflows. And then we said, we're going to focus on accuracy. Those are the two biggest reasons that you can trust the output, you can verify the output, and we will meet you where you are. And the other tenet which we have built our company around is that, hey, we think customer success is more important than sales. Even today, we get our customers more by inbound rather than outbound, in fact, entirely by inbound, because we have been focused on customer success, saying, hey, whoever becomes a customer has to become successful.
Yeah.
Those are three things I would say.
Well, I'll tell you two success stories we've had is on the claim denial thing. So we had a customer that had a condo that there was a fire in the elevator shaft. Carrier there was no damage to the unit. Carrier denied the loss of use because there was no direct damage to the unit, which is usually correct. And I uploaded the policy and the claim denial, and Outmarket said, Carrier's correct. However, there's a clause in here that says if the building is shut down due to governmental ordinance, the policy will pay a certain percentage of loss of use. Reach back out to the carrier. I said, write the email. Yeah. It writes the email. I send that. They approve the claim. Now, I can do all of that, but it's going to take 45 to 60 minutes of me reading and putting together and things like that, right?
And would you have caught that reading it?
Probably not. Customer is over the moon ecstatic. Over the moon. Sent us gift cards, cupcakes, things like that. We had another scenario recently where we were quoting somebody's cyber insurance. Love writing cyber insurance. It was actually an insurtech company. And I get their current cyber policy. I have 3 quotes. I put it in Outmarket, and it makes the case to the customer of why they need to take the more expensive one. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of agents would just default to the one that saves money,
right?
Because the one that saved them money was actually apples to apples to the current policy, but it explained to them why in their industry they need this policy, and he bought a policy that was much more greater revenue than the one they had, which was like fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. And what we're rolling out now is, so we're changing our sales process for personal lines. I'm taking over the sales manager duties in the office for the foreseeable future, and our new people that have no insurance experience, we're running every quote by their manager before they submitted it to the customer. And the first thing I changed is I was like, hey guys, there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, hey guys, before you come to me to ask my opinions on these quotes, just put it in Outmarket and see what it says.
Okay.
Why not?
That's awesome.
Absolutely, Brady. Thanks for sharing that. And I'll just add like one thing to what Anshu just said. And Scott, you asked like why should 50,000 agents listening to this podcast use Outmarket? I mean, like today you're expected to be a salesperson, an underwriter, rarely to a point, a claims
A
analyst, a
CTO.
service rep, a CTO, AI specialist, data analyst, and you're juggling like so much together. The thing is the customers are expecting sort of an Amazon level responsiveness from you, right? Like, hey, if I call you, I want to kind of like, to your point that the person who was ecstatic because you got their claim approved, like they expect that level of responsiveness, right? I mean, everybody is expecting that these days, and the math doesn't work. You either burn out, you miss out on revenue, or you really sort of like can't make it happen, right? So like the honest answer is like use Outmarket because exactly what you just said. It will help you save time, the hours and hours that you spend reading policies and doing all that. Like we want to give you that leverage back. We want to give you that leverage because now you can actually kind of like deepen your relationships with your customer or grow your book of business. That's what we want you to want to give you, right? And I think zooming out, like both Anshu and I firmly believe that I think AI is truly sort of going to give a lot of leverage specifically to brokers and agencies. And this is the golden era, right? If we can free you all up from a lot of time that goes like, in servicing the clients that you have and like, the effort that you all put in, like you will be able to provide much more advisory, right? So the example that you gave when somebody actually bought an expensive policy is the right policy for them, right? Like unfortunately, if a claim were to happen and they were with a cheaper policy and something is not covered, like that's not a discussion you want to have with them, basically, right? So I think
Correct.
that's the kind of impact we want to drive for the industry.
Well, and the thing is, I can have that conversation with the customer why they need the more expensive policy, the better policy, but all of my people might not
Exactly.
be.
Yeah.
But like now they can just say, "Hey, write this email."
Yep.
You know what I mean? So lastly, Scott and I understand you guys have a bit of news to announce to the industry. So do you want to get into that?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Would love to,
no guys, they were not acquired. So that's
no,
not what
we're
that.
not
That's not what it is.
acquired. No, we're not
Pretty
acquired.
hilarious.
And so, yeah, this is Anshu and I are doing this podcast together for the first time ever. And we thought this would be an amazing occasion for us to announce that we have raised our Series A round of funding. So we have raised $17 million in Series A from a lot of very well-known investors in the industry, but also a lot of strategic investors who are very deep in insurance. And the total funding we've raised so far till date is $21.7 million. And yeah, and we are like, Bradley, to your point, like we are here to sort of build a massive business to continue building this. We feel like, after government healthcare, like if you look at insurance, it's the most important and the largest industry, not just in the US, like anywhere in the world, right? It's a critical infrastructure that allows businesses to grow, for families to feel protected when something unfortunate was to happen. And there is a time and opportunity right now to have better software for this industry. So we feel very like we're getting some amazing traction from feedback from customers like you all, and so yeah, we've raised our Series A round of funding, and we're excited to grow the company.
Well, there's a famous quote by Benjamin Franklin that the day the insurance industry disappears will be the day after the United States government. It's ingrained in everything. Like
Absolutely.
I had a buddy who was going to ride his bike, his road bike from San Francisco to New York to raise money for charity. And he's like, "Do you know any media people?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know Kate Snow from NBC." And he's like, "How do you know Kate Snow from NBC?" I was like, "Insurance." I was like, "Dude, name some well-known person." Through 2 phone calls, I probably know their
Right.
insurance agent, right?
That's right.
Insurance touches everything. It
Oh, yeah.
touches
Exactly.
everyone, you
And,
know?
and I like to top it up by saying that when Vishal called me and gave the sort of first inklings of going back and doing insurance again after Ethos, I was like, what the hell, you want to do insurance again? Come on, man. And then when I truly got into, I mean, it is a privilege to get into commercial insurance, right? When you truly get into PNC commercial, you realize the complexity of the problem, you realize the challenges you all deal with. From that reaction of mine, which is, hey, what do you mean we're going to do insurance again, to now I am ready to spend a lifetime in the insurance industry. I love this industry. I understand the importance of this industry, the business fabric in this country, right? And
Yep.
I really, truly appreciate the agent community for all the work they've been doing without the right tools for so
Well,
long.
Scott has a famous saying that if you look at third world countries, and you look at first world countries, the difference is one has insurance and the other doesn't.
100%.
100%.
Insurance is holding, it's the stitching that holds the very fabric of this country together.
Yeah. And we've experienced that third world example also.
Yeah. And I'll say, guys, like, so $21 million of funding, this next round 17. With what you guys have been able to do with 4 million, I cannot wait to see what you do with 17. I cannot wait. Hey, I need you to do it now. Like, let's go. I've been patient.
Hey guys, before we get off this podcast, 2 questions that every agent listening to this needs to know. Question number 1, where do they go to get a demo for Outmarket?
Yeah, Scott, so our website is the best source. Outmarket.ai is our website. Very simple and straightforward. And there is a very kind of button right there to book a call or a demo. I still do a lot of demos. Some of the demos will come to me or it will go to my team. So, but you will be taken care of, and we'll have somebody from our team to give you a demo. Yeah.
And then the second question that every agent sitting here scratching their head thinking about is, how much does Outmarket cost? Yeah. Without getting into the, weeds of that, just ballpark monthly cost. What I believe I'm paying, or I will be paying after this 2-week trial that we're having right now, for one seat in Outmarket, I believe is around $200 per month, or if you want to do the math on that, that's like $2,400 a year. But that's pretty typical, right? And then you also have an enterprise level Outmarket as well.
Absolutely, Scott. So we want to meet the agency where they are, right? So there are agencies that it makes sense for them to start with the $200 per user per month. So we have that. But then we have a lot of larger agencies. We have about 25% of the top 100 brokers on the platform as well. And as Anshu mentioned, we are a platform. People use us for many, many different things. So for those agencies who want, we also have a unlimited seat model. So we don't want, with AI, what we're seeing is we don't want people to get constrained in the whole seat mindset. I want to give a seat to this person and not to that person. We firmly believe that give it to everyone and let the creativity unleash and see kind of what kind of impact they'll drive for your business. And we are seeing that with some of our customers. So we also have another model where people can pay us for unlimited seats and they just pay us for the work that's done. So it's a usage-based model. But yeah, we want to meet you where you are. So we have both. We want to be flexible, and we have both the models actually.
All right. Anshu, Vishal, thank you for being here today. It's an honor. Truly an honor. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing down. Guys, as I end every episode, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today and go build relationships in your community. Not telling you got to go do it. I'm not telling you to go buy it. I'm not getting paid one dime, not 1 cent for this podcast today. So for whoever's out there listening to this that's like, oh, I bet Bradley and Scott are making a bunch of money off this. Did not know these guys were going to be on the podcast until about 5-10 minutes before we got on here. But go try this. I'm telling you, if you do, especially if you're in, really personal lines or commercial, but my people have been blown away with this technology. I'm telling you, just go do a demo and try it and see what you think about it. But as I end every episode, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today and go build relationships and become the mayor of the community that you live in. Write good business for the agencies that you represent and write good business for the carriers that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bradley. Appreciate it.
Guys, as I end every episode, thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care.